Hello folks, and welcome in to Duly Projected. Today we are talking Battleground states. And to be honest, after you watch this video, it's going to make a lot more sense to you if you're new to following elections, as far as looking deeper into polls, looking into the numbers, looking into trends, not just taking the national polls that mass media wants to give to you because they're lazy and they don't want to actually dig into the numbers and find out what's going on. If they can just rattle off a number to you and that has some meaning, then they're going to do it. But honestly, national polls are bunk, and after you watch this video, you'll understand why. It's not complex math. You know, if you don't like math and you've stumbled upon this video, this is going to be very understandable. It's not going to be, you don't have to have a mathematician degree to figure this stuff out. It's very easy. And I'm just going to go step by step. We're going to look at 2016 results, how close some of these battleground states were, what I consider a battleground state, and, let's dive into it and let's check it out. Alright, so here we have the 2016 presidential, electoral, and popular vote. I think I'm going to keep myself over down here. I think you can still see the numbers pretty good. I might move myself around the screen. So here we go. As you can see, I just pulled the Excel spreadsheet from the Federal Election Commission. You can Google it and find these numbers. And basically we have popular vote for Trump, Clinton, all others, total number of votes. And what I did is the popular vote difference. So since Trump is a winner, he's on the left side of the ledger from Clinton. And anytime you see a positive number, that's how many vote difference Trump won in favor of Clinton. And if you see a difference that's negative, that's how many votes won Clinton had from Trump. And then we have a percent difference of the two here. So you can see each state, depending on which state it was, and this is all the states that you see here and DC. So what I've done is I have arranged these into the blue states that Hillary has won and the red states that Trump has won. Now what I've done is I polarized this, meaning the states that Hillary won by the most percentile difference, not popular vote difference, but the percentile, I put at the very top. And for Trump, the states that he has the most percentile difference, I put at the very bottom. And when we meet in the middle here, you see these are the most contested states. And what I consider battleground state is from the previous election. If you're within 5 points either way, and I'll give a little bit here, Virginia 5.32 for Clinton, 5.13 for Trump in Georgia. But for the most part, these states here, they're your battleground states. And what I have done is I have put these, okay, so actually we're going to talk about the electoral map right quick. What I've done is I've arranged these in the most electoral, and if you've seen the electoral map, each state has an electoral vote tally representative of, how many their population, how many they have in Congress, and that sort of thing. So we've gone from the most to the least here. And so 538 total electoral votes. You need 270 to win. That gets a 50.18 percentage that you need to win. So if you look at the electoral map, you can think of them as the percentage of the whole. So California is 10.22% of the total electoral map. That means California has 55 electoral votes. The total is 538, so that is their percentage. Well, you need 50% to win, over 50% barely, to win 270. So, if you look at it as pieces needed, Democrats are always going to win California. I mean, it's the given. So they already have 10% in their bucket needed to win. So basically a generic Democrat candidate just needs 40% more of the electoral votes to win, right? Same thing for New York. It's 5%. So you say 15% is already in the bag for them. 18%. And we'll give them up to 19 here with Illinois. And New Jersey is always in the bag for them, which it might be changing a little bit, but I would say this next election is pretty solidly blue for them as well. So that's 20%. So from the get-go, Democrats have a strong advantage in that they have basically 20% of the electoral map already wrapped up before anybody even votes, right? Now here is where the presidential election is won and lost. Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Georgia, and North Carolina. Battleground states. I've listed these in purple, but these are the ones that, you know, if you win, you're putting that in your ledger, taking that away from your opponent, and that's how you add up to get above 50%. So if you win, you know, a 5%, basically a 4%, a 3%, you start stacking these up. You know, there's all these other blue and red states that are never going to move. They're pretty much always going to be red or blue for the most part. You know, we're going to look in future videos on trends of these states. For the most part, they're going to be solidly red or blue. So we need to look at these purple states, the ones within that 5%. Either way, could go 5% towards Democrat, 5% towards a Republican. So we have them here. We have them all listed out. This is the percentage of the total of the purple states. I say, call it a purple state. I call it a battleground state, synonymous. So 181 total electoral votes up for grabs. 33.64% of the total. This is where you have to watch for. Don't get caught up in national polls. National polls are meaningless. They don't mean anything. They have no influence on what's going to happen in the actual electoral map in the election. This is where that money's made, right here. These states. This is what decides the elections. This is what campaigns should be spending a majority of all their money towards for these states, especially the ones that have the most electoral votes. That's what's really going to sway the election. And you can see here, the reason why Trump won is he won. All of these purple states are red from the 2016. You know, yeah, actually all of the top purple states went red, and that's why Trump won. And we'll dive in a little bit more. I'll flip back, dive in a little bit more on how he won in a future video. Is by the slimmest of margins here. You can see these 3 states, he had to have them, and it's pretty remarkable that he was able to win these by the slimmest of margins. So not a lot of people talk about that, but we'll talk about it more in a future video. But I'm just trying to reinforce why battleground states are so important, and that national polls are meaningless, absolutely meaningless. Because when you watch my future videos, I'm going to be just dissecting these battleground state polls. And we're going to look at previous polls to how are polls, you know, this election cycle versus other election cycles. We'll look at the ongoing trends of actual results. So we're really going to do some deep dives there. Hope you join me on those videos. Alright, so this is what Trump won over here. And this is what Hillary won over here in 2016. Like I said, you know, if you're a Democrat, you already have an advantage from the get-go. You already have, this is a percentage of her total votes, how many electorals she got. So that's not representative of the actual map here, as you can see. But, you know, this is, you know, well, I can count it up here. These 4 states is half of her electoral vote tally. And they're already banked. I mean, she can already, for Hillary in 2016, she could already bank these 4 states in. For, you know, if Biden makes it to November and he's still on the ballot, he can bank these votes in. He's already got pretty much half of what he needs, and he has to work on these others and try to pull these away from Trump, right? That's what his main goal is going to be. Which ones are feasible for him to pull away. But for a Republican, they don't have these huge states. They have Texas, which some say is kind of moving towards purple, maybe blue, but for right now, I'm going to keep it in the red column there. But anything else, you know, all these purple states are contested for a Republican. They don't have a huge population center to go to or electoral map center to go to. You can, you know, add all these up and they add up, right? And a lot of these you can kind of place into the Republican ledger, but that's why battleground states are so important, because they swing elections, literally swing elections. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to talk on a future video about the trends, you know, from 96 to 2016, as you can see here. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in my next video. And, you know, many more videos to do. We're going to talk about each state, and we'll go from, you know, the highest state here each week, kind of dive into the trend. So we'll start with Florida, move with Pennsylvania. So watch for those videos to drop. Like I said, I'm going to try to drop these videos noon every day, so you have an expectation of when the next video is going to drop. Try to stay consistent there for you. And like I said, hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this channel, because on my channel, we're only really going to talk about battleground states, and we'll talk about the value of that. We'll not really even mention national polls and not pull them up just to see some movement, but in all, they're bunk. Meaningless, don't mean anything, don't even rely on them, don't even worry about them. So I will see you on the next one, and take care. Have a good evening. Bye.